Hello, and welcome to this updated video guide for tanking Castrum Meridianum in Final Fantasy Heavensward. My name is TSDS, and in this video you'll learn everything there is to know about tanking the Castrum now that it's no longer current content. Castrum Meridianum is the first of two 8-man dungeon encounters in the level 50 story quest line of A Realm Reborn. When I first did this dungeon, I looked at a lot of guides in order to tank it correctly, but all of them are now out of date. This video will show you what a real run looks like these days and inform you of what you need and don't need to look out for. We start by pulling all of the mobs in this starting area together and grouping them up for AoE. These searchlight terminals are interacted with in order to progress the dungeon, and when both are sorted, a cutscene will interrupt you. Get used to that happening here. When they're all dead, just run down this pathway, pulling the mobs as you go, and group them up at the end, right outside the first boss encounter. You can be clever and avoid a lot of the monsters down this pathway, but honestly, no one cares. Just group them and AoE them. The first boss is the Black Eft, and he'll probably be dead by the time I finish explaining. If you're main tanking, just keep him in the middle, and if you're off tanking and want to make it look like you're doing something, just pick up the ads that spawn around the edges and go back to the boss. When the boss is down, you'll get another cutscene, which I advise you skip when tanking. However, get ready for half your run to look like this. No, seriously, get ready. In a corner of the boss room, you'll find the disposal chute. Run to it and interact with it in order to teleport to the next area. Congrats, you're human garbage. After running up these stairs, you'll be hit with another cutscene. Run along as you see here and make sure to grab this guy. He patrols, so he might be further up the path when you get there. Eventually, you'll come across another searchlight terminal, so pull the mobs there too. Depending on how geared you are, you can either stop now for AoE or continue pulling, as you'll see in the video. If you're watching this, you'll probably be a fairly fresh tank, in which case feel free to just follow the other's lead. Honestly, you'll probably feel a little bit useless this first run, but don't worry, because literally no one cares. These actual searchlights will trigger mobs to spawn near a pole if someone is spotted. Someone will be spotted. This pole. Just grab those mobs and pull them down to the entrance of these weird water pipe things. When the mobs are dead, run down this pathway and you'll see an unstable panelling on either side of you. There are two ramps, one on either side of you, so pick one and pull the mobs guarding the panelling down to the centre path. Your other tank will take care of the other one. Meanwhile, your other dungeon chums will sabotage both sides, which does something I guess, but for tanking, just focus on the monsters. When it's all dead and done, run back the way you came and head towards the right, where you'll find boss number 2. The second boss, generic robot number 2, is nothing special. For main tanking, it's the same as the first boss, so nothing. For off tanking, there are a lot of ads spawning in, so do your best to pick them up. The boss will die long before anything really matters, but just try not to let your healers take too much in the face. It makes the tank guild look bad, and you want commendations, right? When the boss is down, you'll be joined by our buddy Sid, or Slow Ass Motherfucker, as he's more commonly known as in the Castrum. Once you get to this wall, Sid will blow it down, and this is where the dungeon gets fun. I'll preface this segment with the warning that tanks brand new to this dungeon might want to take a back seat here and let the other tank do the work. Going through the door, pull the first pack of mobs like I just did and grab the ones in the next area as well. Your buddies will hop on the cannons positioned further in front of you and blow the living hell out of these poor husbands and fathers. The cannons can be destroyed, which is why you should make sure to hold the mobs around this area, as the larger robots have some very long-reaching attacks. Further up the path will be another group of monsters, so pull them and take them back in front of the cannons. Note that the Magitek Colossus patrols a large area, so he might not be here when you go to pull. If he's not, just pull the others and include him in what I'm about to explain next. Run back up that path where you grab the second set of monsters from and pull the Colossus if he's not already dead. Further up will be yet another group of monsters, so make sure to grab them as well. Keep running and you'll find a final set of monsters and another load of cannons. You know what to do. Here you'll find the third boss, Magitek Colossus Rubicatus. Remember the nickname for Sid? Well, now you'll see how he earned it. Once Sid eventually shows up, he'll attack this tower thing, causing 3 mobs to spawn here. Sid will keep attacking the tower, and before long, the boss will spawn. Like everything, this boss is pretty easy. For main tanking, keep him in the corner where he spawns, and avoid his area attacks if you want. It doesn't really matter. For off-tanking, you have many adds to collect. This isn't something to stress over either, because the dungeon is so trivial, but it gives you something to do. During the fight, several Magitek hand monsters will spawn and create very obvious purple links between themselves and the boss. The hands cannot be killed by players and drastically reduce the amount of damage the boss takes when the links are up. Luckily, Sid gets cracking and will kill them with his robot. Rinse and repeat until the boss is down. Afterwards, run over to this door and pull the mobs on the other side. Keep going and you'll find yourself back at the first set of cannons. Let your buddies shoot them down before continuing on. Outside of the next door will be another Colossus. One tank can pull him back to the cannons while the other tank gets on with the next bit by interacting with the 2 terminals by the door. I advise new tanks not to try this next bit at home, so let your other tank do what you see here, but feel free to help out a little as well because the damage can get large. Running up this ramp to the left, you'll find a small group of mobs and a searchlight terminal. The terminal isn't for you, so grab the mobs and jump over the fence and start going up the second rampart. After collecting these mobs, jump back down and wait. Once your group has interacted with both terminals, an aircraft will appear and start bombarding you. Your team will interact with cannons that also spawned in order to shoot it down. The reason we're waiting is because 2 additional Colossi will spawn on either end of the room, and it's faster to pull all the mobs here in one go. If you're still alive, run back to the cannons and keep aggro while they get nuked down. Once finished, head back down to the final boss. The final boss is Leve Junius, or Junius, whatever. This is a 2-phase encounter, and she starts off by riding her own Magitek mount thing. During this phase, she can't be traditionally tanked, however the first person to hit her on the pull will get initial aggro. You should always keep her in the middle of the room because she can destroy the cannons that you'll need on either side of the room. The way this phase works is that you must interact with the Magitek missile piles, causing a hand to give you a hand by loading the cannons nearby. When a cannon is ready to fire, it will glow red. Interacting with the cannon gives you 1 action on your bar, allowing you to select where to hit. Obviously this is going to be the boss. The boss in this phase will attack the last person who hit her with a cannon, but she does basically 0 damage, so there's no reason to be scared. If she's on you, just pull her to the centre of the room. Using the cannons can spawn enemies on the edges of the room that will start attacking either the cannons, the robot hands, or the healers, so make sure you pick them up quickly. If a robot hand is slain, it will respawn after a short time, however cannons will not. I'm yet to find out what happens if all the cannons go down, but it's probably nothing good. Some groups will wait to use the cannons all at once in order to control the way the adds spawn, and others don't. It really doesn't matter anymore, and you're tanking, so do whatever you like. After hitting her enough times, you'll get another cutscene and be placed back ready for Phase 2. Phase 2 is a pretty easy tank and spank with adds. If you're main tanking, just keep her where she is, and if you're off tanking, be sure to pick up the adds that spawn. There'll be a lot of them, but as with the last boss, they're pretty weak, so don't stress too much for your first time. A lot of these adds seem to follow strange enmity rules in that being the top of their list won't cause them to change target. You can see here a whole bunch of them who are aggro to me, yet they keep attacking the healer. If this happens, keep hitting them anyway, so your healer doesn't think you're a scrub. In my healing guide, I advise healers to stand on most bosses here, giving the tanks a lot easier of a time for collecting them. Towards the end, a big ad will spawn, which you should try and pick up. It doesn't do much damage, but it's a very obvious sign that you're not doing anything if it's just running around twatting things. Just keep slapping the boss, and eventually she'll go down. Good job. Hopefully, this guide will help any of you new tanks who are looking to do this dungeon, so you won't be as worried and unsure as I was on my first time. If you enjoyed the guide, then let me know, and if there are any other encounters or perspectives you would like to see, check out my channel or feel free to ask me to create one. The cutscenes for this dungeon can be found in your room at an inn, but you can also find them on my channel. For tanks, I really do recommend skipping them here, because while this dungeon is relatively easy these days, it does help to have 2 tanks, especially if both are new. Thank you for watching, and good luck.